If she acts this way, it doesn't mean she's avoiding you. It means she's afraid of falling for you. This is a pattern seen in female psychology and emotional behavior. Love isn't about owning someone. It's about bravery and emotional courage. Many men follow a simple rule about women. If she steps back, she's not interested. But that isn't always true. Sometimes brief messages, unclear signals, or emotional distance aren't signs of rejection. They're signs of fear. When a woman begins to feel more than she expected, it can challenge her sense of safety, independence, or past emotional wounds. Her natural reaction may not be to move closer, but to take a step back, not because she doesn't care, but because she cares more than she's ready to handle. This is not manipulation, it's a reflection of female emotional psychology. If you don't recognize this, you might end up leaving a connection that actually had the potential to grow. When she goes hot and cold emotionally. When a woman goes hot and cold emotionally, don't rush to label it as mixed signals or a lack of interest. That assumption will blind you to what is really happening beneath the surface. One day she is open, warm, present, laughing easily, sharing stories that feel personal and unguarded. You feel that quiet click of connection, the kind that tells you something meaningful is forming. Then the next day, she pulls back. She replies slower. She keeps things lighter, shorter, safer. This shift is not random. It is not a game, and it is not confusion. That is the mistake most men make. What you are witnessing is an internal tug-of-war between desire and fear, a classic pattern in female psychology, where emotional closeness feels wonderful, but also risky. When that closeness grows, her nervous system steps in to protect her sense of safety. Be clear about this. Attraction does not disappear overnight, but fear can rise very quickly, especially when she feels herself starting to care more than she planned. That fear whispers, slow down, regain control, don't fall too fast. So she creates distance, not to punish you, not to test you, but to breathe, to recalibrate, to make sure she is not losing herself in the process. Don't chase harder in these moments. Chasing confirms the very thing she's afraid of, that emotions are spiraling too fast. Pressure, even subtle pressure, makes the emotional temperature spike again. Instead, be steady, be calm, be grounded. Steadiness soothes a mind caught between longing and self-protection. This is one of the most misunderstood psychology tricks in attraction. Intensity does not build trust, consistency does. Look closely at the example. She opens up late at night, she shares memories, she laughs freely, she lets her guard down. Then suddenly conversations feel polite, shorter, more controlled. That is not rejection. That is her trying to put the feelings back in the box after realizing how real they started to feel. When you understand this, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently. Don't confront her with, "Why are you acting different?" That puts her on the defensive and forces her to explain emotions she may not fully understand herself. That never leads to closeness. Instead, stay warm without being demanding. Be present without being invasive. Show interest without being heavy. That balance communicates emotional safety. Emotional safety is the quiet engine behind how to fall in love in a lasting way. You must understand this. Many women are not afraid of you. They are afraid of how they feel around you, afraid of losing control, afraid of getting hurt, afraid of repeating old patterns. When emotions rise too quickly, the instinct is to slow things down, not shut them down. That is why the hot and cold pattern often appears right after moments of deep connection, not before them. Don't overinterpret silence. Don't fill gaps with anxiety. Don't punish distance with distance. Emotional maturity is shown not in reaction, but in regulation. Be the man who stays the same, whether she leans in or pulls back. Sameness signals safety. Safety is irresistible in female psychology. Most men fail here. They mirror the coldness, they withdraw affection, they try to regain control. That only confirms her fear that closeness leads to instability. Instead, stay centered, stay respectful, stay calm, stay lightly engaged. That steadiness slowly dissolves fear without a dramatic conversation. Real psychology tricks are not flashy. They are quiet, they are patient, they are rooted in understanding human emotion, not controlling it. When she feels you are not trying to rush her, fix her, or corner her emotionally, her guard relaxes naturally. The warmth returns on its own, deeper and more stable than before. Remember this: how to fall in love is not about pushing feelings higher and higher. It is about creating a space where feelings feel safe to stay. When you master that, the hot and cold cycle loses its power. She no longer needs to pull away to protect herself. Be consistent, be emotionally available without overwhelming her. Be confident enough to let her process her feelings at her own pace. Confidence is quiet. Patience speaks louder than pressure. When you understand this layer of female psychology, you stop chasing signs and start building presence. Presence, done right, is one of the most effective psychology tricks there is, not because it manipulates, but because it reassures. Reassurance is the bridge between attraction and real connection. That is the truth most men never hear. Once you see it, everything changes. 2, she avoids deep conversations right after meaningful moments. After a meaningful moment, don't be surprised if she suddenly avoids deep conversations. That shift is not an accident, and it is not a sign that you said the wrong thing. One night, you share something real together, an honest conversation, a vulnerable admission, a date that feels different from all the others. There is laughter, softness, eye contact that lingers a second longer than usual. Then, almost like a switch, the next day she changes the subject, jokes things off, or becomes quieter than before. That contrast can feel confusing, even discouraging, but you must understand what is really happening beneath the surface. Depth makes feelings real, that is the core truth, and real feelings carry risk. When she opens up about her past, her fears, or her hopes, she steps into emotional territory that feels exposed. In that moment, connection feels good, warm, and alive. But once the moment passes, her mind starts to process what that depth actually means. Why did I say that? Why did that feel so intense? What if I'm getting attached? Pulling back helps her feel safe again. That is emotional self-protection, not emotional rejection. Don't push for more depth right away. That is where many men stumble. They feel the closeness and want to continue it immediately to keep the emotional door wide open. But pressure, even gentle pressure, can make her retreat further. Be calm, be grounded, be steady. A high-value man understands timing. He knows that emotional connection is like heat. Too much too fast can overwhelm. The right amount creates comfort. Look at the example carefully. She opens up about her past, something personal, maybe something she doesn't share often. The next day, she jokes it off or becomes unusually quiet. That silence is not emptiness, it is processing. Her mind is catching up to her heart. She's asking herself what that moment means and whether it is safe to continue. When you see it this way, you stop reacting with insecurity and start responding with confidence. Don't interrogate her with questions like, "Why are you being distant?" or "Did I do something wrong?" That puts her in a corner. It forces her to explain feelings she may not yet understand herself. Instead, be present without pressure. Stay warm without demanding more. That quiet steadiness is masculine energy at its best, not loud, not forceful, just grounded and calm. That is how you attract women who are emotionally mature. Even when they are cautious, they are not testing you. They are watching how you handle emotional space. Do you panic when things slow down? Do you rush to fill every silence? Or do you stay relaxed, confident, and self-assured? The way you respond in these moments tells her everything she needs to know about your emotional strength. You must understand this. Avoiding deep conversations right after meaningful moments is often a sign that the moment mattered more than she expected. If it didn't matter, there would be no need to retreat. If it meant nothing, she would move on easily. The pullback happens because something real was felt. That is why reacting calmly is one of the most effective ways to attract women without chasing or convincing. Be consistent. Consistency creates safety. When she sees that you are the same person, whether the conversation is deep or light, her nervous system relaxes. She learns that depth does not lead to chaos or pressure. It leads to stability. That is the environment where attraction grows naturally. A high-value man does not confuse silence with loss. He understands that space can strengthen connection. When handled correctly, he stays engaged in life. He keeps his routine. He remains emotionally open without being needy. That balance is powerful. It communicates self-respect and confidence without a single word. This is where masculine energy quietly shines. It is not about control, it is about presence. Presence says, "I'm here, but I don't need to rush you." Presence says, "I value connection, but I also respect your pace." That message is deeply reassuring. It allows her to return to depth on her own terms, without fear. Don't mistake emotional retreat for lack of interest. That misunderstanding causes men to pull away completely or push too hard. Both extremes break the connection. The middle path is where attraction lives. Calm interest, light engagement, emotional steadiness. That is how you attract women who are drawn to security as much as excitement. Over time, if you handle these moments well, the pattern changes. She pulls back less. She stays open longer. Depth no longer feels dangerous because you have shown her that nothing bad happens when emotions slow down. That is how trust is built. Quietly, gradually, honestly. Remember, this attraction is not built by forcing depth. It is built by making depth feel safe. When she feels safe, she returns willingly. When she returns, the connection grows stronger than before. That is how real bonds form, and that is how a high-value man naturally stands out. Be patient, be grounded, be emotionally steady. These are not tricks, they are signals. Signals that say you understand human emotion. Signals that say you are comfortable with closeness and space. That balance is rare, and it is magnetic. This is how you attract women without pressure. This is how masculine energy works when it is mature and calm. And this is why avoiding deep conversations after meaningful moments is not a red flag, but an invitation to lead with understanding instead of fear. If this resonates with you, don't just watch and move on. Take a stand, drop a comment right now and write, "I stay calm when emotions run deep." Like this video, subscribe for more clear, grounded insight, and remind yourself every day, when she pulls back after depth, it's not distance, it's protection. 3. She downplays her feelings. When a woman downplays her feelings, understand this clearly. She is not confused. She is cautious. She is not pulling away. She is protecting herself from the speed and depth of what she feels. When she says, "I'm not looking for anything serious," or "I'm just seeing where things go," or "don't read into it," yet at the same time remembers the smallest details about your life, checks in on days that matter to you, and rearranges her schedule to make room for you, that contradiction is not accidental. It is psychological self-defense. Men who understand female psychology recognize this pattern immediately. Words are often shields. Actions are confessions. As Maya Angelou famously said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. What she is showing you is not indifference but restraint, not distance but fear of emotional momentum. Attraction that grows too fast feels risky, especially in modern life, where emotional investment can feel like stepping into uncertainty without armor. She may be talking herself out of feelings because acknowledging them would force vulnerability, expectations, and the possibility of loss. This is where your response as a man determines everything. You do not chase her words. You observe her behavior. You do not argue with her disclaimers. You remain grounded, steady, and calm. Emotional stability is magnetic. This is where old Stoic wisdom becomes your advantage. Stoicism win strategies teach you to stay unmoved by mixed signals while remaining present, attentive, and confident. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That strength is what she feels when she is around you. The sense that you are not rushing her, not pressuring her, not seeking reassurance. You are standing firm in your own direction. In today's world of endless options and emotional noise, a man with an iron mind stands out without effort. He does not demand clarity before it is ready to emerge. He allows feelings to surface naturally. He understands that fear of falling is often disguised as casual language. Commitment begins internally before it is ever spoken aloud. The mistake many men make is trying to force definition too early, trying to corner emotions with logic, trying to extract certainty through conversation. The wiser move is consistency, patience, self-respect. Consistency is louder than persuasion. Patience creates safety. Safety allows attraction to deepen. Remember, this attraction does not grow under pressure. It grows under presence. When you embody old Stoic wisdom, when you let Stoicism win, guide your reactions, when you cultivate an iron mind that remains calm regardless of outcome, you communicate strength without saying a word. That strength allows her to relax. She does not feel rushed into a label. She does not feel trapped by expectations. She feels free to feel. Freedom accelerates emotional honesty. Modern life rewards men who master themselves before trying to master relationships. Victory here is not about control. It is about composure, not about convincing, about clarity. The more grounded you are, the less she needs to downplay what she feels. Eventually, words align with actions when safety meets attraction. Epictetus taught, "First, say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Be the man who is stable, purposeful, and emotionally self-contained. Let her experience that steadiness over time." Fear fades in the presence of reliability. What starts as "don't read into it" often becomes openness when she realizes you are not shaken by uncertainty. Repeat this until it sinks in. Actions reveal truth. Calm creates trust. Patience wins. When you live by old Stoic wisdom, when you let Stoicism win, shape your mindset. When your iron mind remains unbothered, you stop reacting and start leading. Leadership in emotion is not loud. It is quiet, firm, undeniable. That is how you master modern relationships. That is how you avoid confusion. That is how you move forward with confidence, dignity, and the deep satisfaction of knowing you did not chase affection. You allowed it to come to you. 4. She creates small barriers instead of cutting you off. When a woman creates small barriers instead of cutting you off, you must slow down and read the situation with clarity. Because the truth is simple, but often misunderstood. If she were not interested at all, she would disappear completely. No explanations, no replies, no emotional residue left behind. Yet that is not what is happening here. This is where many men misread female psychology and sabotage something that is quietly forming. She still answers. She still shows up in small ways. She hasn't slammed the door. She has simply narrowed the doorway. Messages become shorter, not colder. Meetups happen less often, not never. "I'm busy" appears, but without finality or rejection. That pattern matters. That is not avoidance. That is regulation. That is emotional containment. And one of the most overlooked psychology tricks in modern attraction: don't rush to label it disinterest. Be precise. A woman who is scared of feeling too much often steps back, not to escape you, but to protect herself from losing control over her emotions. She senses a pull. She feels momentum, and instead of letting it sweep her away, she taps the brakes. You must understand that attraction doesn't always move forward loudly. Sometimes it retreats quietly so it can survive. Don't panic when availability drops. Be steady. That steadiness is not passive. It is powerful. She is watching how you respond to limits, because limits reveal character. When you push, demand over text, or seek reassurance, you confirm the very fear she is trying to manage. When you remain calm, grounded, and respectful, you show her that connection with you doesn't require emotional chaos. That is safety. That is maturity. Female psychology responds deeply to that kind of presence, especially for women who have learned through experience that strong feelings can lead to loss of control. Don't confuse fewer words with less interest. Be observant. Notice that she still chooses you when she could have vanished. That choice means something. She is keeping the thread alive while reducing the intensity, because part of her wants the bond, but doesn't trust the speed. This is where understanding how to fall in love becomes less about pursuit and more about pacing. Love that lasts is rarely rushed. It is regulated. It is allowed to breathe. When she creates boundaries that didn't exist before, she is not pulling away from you. She is pulling herself back from falling too fast. That distinction changes everything. Don't challenge the boundary, respect it. Boundaries are not obstacles, they are signals. They say, this matters enough to handle carefully. Men who understand this don't try to collapse the distance. They let it exist. They stay consistent without being clingy. They remain warm without crowding. They keep their life full instead of waiting by the phone. That behavior communicates emotional security. Emotional security is one of the strongest attraction forces in female psychology. She notices whether you stay composed or become reactive. She notices whether you respect her rhythm or try to override it. And those observations quietly determine whether the barrier stays temporary or becomes permanent. This is one of those psychology tricks that feels counterintuitive because instinct tells many men to lean in harder when connection feels threatened. But wisdom says, hold steady. Let space do its work. Space allows desire to stretch. Space allows curiosity to grow. Space allows her to feel without pressure. Don't fill the gaps with anxiety. Be confident in silence as well as conversation. That confidence reassures her that connection with you doesn't come with emotional debt. She is not testing your patience. She is testing emotional safety. Can you remain grounded when access is limited? Can you trust the connection without controlling it? Can you stay present without demanding closeness? These questions live beneath her behavior, and when the answers are yes, fear begins to soften. When fear softens, attraction deepens naturally. This is how to fall in love without force. Without persuasion, without games. It is not about doing more. It is about reacting less. Don't pull away out of pride. Don't overcorrect out of insecurity. Be balanced. Balance signals strength. Balance signals self-respect, and self-respect is quietly magnetic. Especially for men between 35 to 70, life experience becomes an advantage here because you understand that not everything meaningful moves fast. You understand that restraint often hides depth. She is still there because she feels something worth managing. If she felt nothing, there would be nothing to manage at all. She would be gone. Instead, she chooses partial access over absence. That choice speaks louder than constant availability ever could. She's staying connected without surrendering control of her heart, and your response determines whether she eventually feels safe enough to lower those barriers. This is female psychology in motion, subtle, layered, and deeply human. When you stop taking it personally and start responding intelligently, the dynamic shifts. Don't rush the outcome. Be present. Be consistent. Be calm. That is how attraction stabilizes. That is how fear dissolves into trust. And that is how to fall in love in a way that feels natural, mutual, and lasting, using psychology tricks, not to manipulate, but to understand, respect, and allow connection to grow at the pace it needs to grow. If this opened your eyes, don't scroll past it. Like the video, share it with a man who's misreading her silence and subscribe for more insights into female psychology and psychology tricks that actually matter. Now engage with the channel. Comment this sentence below and mean it. Distance doesn't always mean disinterest. Sometimes it means she's protecting her heart. 5. She overthinks everything you say or do. When she starts overthinking everything you say or do, don't dismiss it as drama or assume she's suddenly complicated. Be aware, fear sharpens attention. That is the quiet truth most men overlook. When feelings are shallow, details blur. When feelings grow, details become loud. A word choice, a pause, a delayed reply. Things that once passed unnoticed now feel meaningful to her. Not because you changed, but because her emotional investment did. She's not looking for problems, she's looking for certainty. And the moment attraction deepens, her mind begins scanning for signals that confirm safety or warn of disappointment. Don't mock that process, understand it. This is where emotional maturity separates an average man from a high-value man. Think about the example. A delayed reply from you suddenly feels significant to her, even if it never mattered before. Yesterday, silence was neutral. Today, it carries weight, not because she's fragile, but because she now has something to lose. Fear doesn't always make people retreat. Sometimes it makes them pay closer attention. In moments like this, female emotion doesn't shut down, it zooms in. Tone matters more. Timing feels loaded. Meaning is searched for between the lines. That's not insecurity, that is emotional investment mixed with the fear of disappointment. Don't brush it off. Be steady. That steadiness is masculine energy at its best. Calm, grounded, unreactive. You must understand this dynamic if you want to attract women without confusion or chaos. Overthinking is often the mind's attempt to regain control when the heart starts moving faster than planned. She didn't expect to care this much. She didn't expect your absence to register, and that surprise makes her cautious. So she replays conversations. She rereads messages. She wonders what you meant, not because she doubts herself, but because she's trying to protect herself from hoping too much. Don't escalate emotionally. Don't pull away to teach a lesson. Be consistent. That consistency reassures her nervous system more than long explanations ever could. A high-value man doesn't panic when a woman thinks deeply. He remains centered. He understands that attraction often brings vulnerability, and vulnerability brings questions. Here's where many men sabotage things without realizing it. They mistake her overthinking as pressure. They feel watched, evaluated, so they withdraw or become defensive. Don't do that. Be clear in your actions. Be respectful in your communication. That is how you maintain masculine energy without becoming rigid or distant. Masculine energy isn't about control. It's about emotional reliability. When your behavior stays aligned, her mind slowly relaxes. The analysis softens. The tension fades because certainty replaces fear. This is how you attract women who are emotionally mature and capable of real connection. You must also recognize the quiet compliment hidden in her overthinking. People don't analyze what they don't care about. They don't fear losing what doesn't matter. Her attention sharpens because you matter. That's the truth. So don't perform, don't over-explain. Be authentic, be predictable in the right ways. Show up when you say you will. Speak clearly, act cleanly. These simple behaviors communicate safety at a deeper level than words. This is why a high-value man doesn't rely on tricks alone. He understands emotional cause and effect. He knows that to attract women long-term, his inner stability must come first. As her feelings deepen, your role is not to manage her thoughts, but to manage yourself. That is where masculine energy truly lives. Calm presence, emotional restraint, quiet confidence. When she senses that you're not easily shaken, Her fear begins to loosen its grip. Overthinking fades when trust grows, and trust grows when actions and intentions stay aligned. That is the real lesson here. Not every question needs an answer. Not every pause needs filling. Sometimes the strongest signal you can send is consistency over time. Be that man. Be steady. Be aware. That is how attraction deepens without pressure, and how emotional fear slowly turns into emotional safety. 6. She tests your consistency. When a woman tests your consistency, understand this clearly and without hesitation. She is not stepping away from you. She is stepping closer to a decision that could change her emotional world. When a woman is scared of falling for you, she watches far more than she asks. She observes how you move through silence. She studies how you handle distance. She notices how you respond when things stop flowing easily. Quietly, she is asking herself questions that matter more than words ever could. Are you stable? Are you patient? Do you remain grounded when emotions rise, or do you disappear the moment uncertainty appears? This is where many men fail without realizing it. When she pulls back slightly, it is not rejection, it is a mirror. Your reaction tells her everything about your inner strength, your emotional control, and your reliability as a man. Pressure repels, anger alarms, desperation breaks trust. Calm confidence speaks louder than any declaration. As Marcus Aurelius warned, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. This truth is rooted in old Stoic wisdom, and modern men need it now more than ever. In today's fast, reactive world, emotional stability is rare. Rarity creates value. When she pauses, delays a reply, or softens her engagement, she is measuring your iron mind. She is watching your ability to stay centered without reassurance. She is testing whether you remain consistent without chasing. She is observing if you can stand firm without hardening. Consistency is not constant attention. Consistency is predictable character. It is the quiet steadiness that allows a woman to feel safe enough to surrender emotionally. Attraction may spark interest, but consistency builds trust. Trust opens the door to deeper connection. Fear of falling is fear of losing control. Only a man who controls himself can be trusted with another person's heart. This is why Stoicism wins. It is not emotional distance, it is emotional mastery. It is the strength to remain the same man, whether things are smooth or uncertain. Seneca captured this perfectly when he said, "A man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. Reacting too early creates problems that never existed. Patience dissolves fear before it hardens." In modern life, where dating is flooded with instant gratification and emotional volatility, a man who remains steady stands out immediately. The advice is simple but demanding. Do not change your rhythm when she tests you. Do not explain yourself excessively. Do not chase clarity before it is offered. Stay present, stay respectful, stay grounded. Consistency is the language of safety. Safety is the gateway to intimacy. Every time you respond with calm confidence instead of emotional reaction, you signal leadership. Leadership is deeply attractive because it promises direction, stability, and emotional shelter. Old Stoic wisdom still governs human psychology today because human nature has not changed. Only the noise around it has. When she pulls back, your job is not to fill the silence. Your job is to hold your frame, live your life fully, and remain engaged without attachment to outcomes. A man who does not collapse under uncertainty is a man worth investing in. Epicurus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Your identity must lead your actions, not her behavior. When you live this way, you create a quiet sense of victory, not over her, but over your impulses. That is where real power lives. Repeat this truth until it becomes instinct. Consistency builds trust. Trust dissolves fear. Fear transforms into desire. Desire grows into connection. The man who understands this does not rush. He does not retreat. He does not react. He remains. He leads. He stands firm with an iron mind. Stoicism is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself. When you master yourself, the world, including her emotions, begins to move differently around you. If this opened your eyes, don't just watch. Engage. Like this video, share it with someone who needs clarity, and subscribe for more deep relationship psychology. Comment to remember. Consistency creates safety, and safety allows feelings to grow. This sentence directly reflects the idea that when she pulls back, she's watching your calm, patience, and stability, not your words. 7. She comes back when you give her space. When she comes back after you give her space, don't rush to label it as confusion or mixed signals. This is one of the clearest windows into female psychology, and you must understand what's really happening beneath the surface. If you want clarity instead of frustration, when you stop pushing, stop demanding explanations, and stop asking where you stand every few days, something subtle but powerful shifts inside her. Pressure feels like a spotlight. Emotion doesn't bloom under interrogation. It retreats, it hides. It waits for safety. When you step back calmly, confidently, without drama, you're not disappearing. You're changing the emotional temperature. That is where psychology tricks quietly do their work. Space tells her, I trust you to feel what you feel. That message lowers the inner noise that was keeping her guarded. When she reaches out after a quiet period, sends a casual message, checks in just to see how you're doing, or resumes warmth, that isn't random. That is relief expressing itself. Fear thrives on pressure. It softens in freedom. And when fear softens, attraction has room to breathe again. Don't mistake her return for confusion or indecision. See it for what it is. Her nervous system has finally settled enough to let emotions rise. Don't chase that moment. Don't interrogate it. Don't demand explanations for why she pulled away before. The fastest way to undo progress is to reintroduce the very pressure that caused her to retreat in the first place. You must remember this. How to fall in love is rarely about convincing someone. It's about creating an environment where feelings feel safe to grow. This is why giving space works. Not because distance magically creates desire, but because it removes the emotional threat that made closeness feel risky. This is a core principle of female psychology that many men miss, especially men who value clarity and directness. To you, asking questions feels responsible to her. Too many questions feel like a test she's not ready to take. Be patient here, be grounded, be steady. When she comes back on her own, she's choosing connection instead of reacting to pressure. That choice matters more than any reassurance she could give you. Don't over-celebrate it. Don't point it out. Don't say, see, I knew you'd come back. Confidence is quiet. Security doesn't announce itself. When you handle her return with calm warmth instead of urgency, you reinforce the safety that allowed her feelings to resurface. That is how psychology tricks work at their best, not as manipulation, but as understanding. The real trick is emotional intelligence, knowing when to lean in and when to lean back, knowing that attraction often grows in the pauses, not the speeches. Understand this deeply. When you give space, you're not giving up control. You're demonstrating self-respect. That self-respect is attractive because it signals stability. Stability allows someone to relax enough to feel desire instead of fear. Be consistent, be kind, be open without being heavy. When she feels you're not trying to corner her emotions, she's far more likely to explore them freely. That's where how to fall in love stops being strategy and starts being timing. Don't confuse silence with rejection. Don't confuse space with disinterest. Sometimes silence is simply where feelings reorganize themselves. And when she steps back into your world after that space, it's often because something inside her finally feels quiet enough to listen to her heart. That is why space reduces fear. And when fear fades, feelings rise. Once you see this pattern clearly, you stop reacting emotionally and start responding intelligently, using female psychology not to control outcomes, but to respect the process. And when you do that, connection becomes lighter, easier, and far more genuine. That is the most powerful psychology trick of all, and the most honest way to understand how to fall in love. Conclusion: if she does this, she's not avoiding you, she's scared of falling for you. Hey, my friend, I'm really glad you stayed with me until the end. Here's some real grounded advice I want you to remember. When a woman creates distance but still stays connected, that's not your cue to prove yourself harder or disappear out of pride. That's your moment to stay calm, centered, and emotionally steady. A man who doesn't react out of fear instantly becomes different from the rest. Consistency, patience, and self-respect speak louder than chasing ever will. Understand this clearly. Her pulling back is not always about you doing something wrong. Many times, it's about her protecting herself from feelings she didn't expect. When you stop taking it personally, you stop making emotional mistakes. You respond with awareness instead of anxiety. And that's where real attraction grows. So focus on being solid in who you are. Keep your life full, your mindset strong, and your emotions under control. When you lead with calm confidence, you create safety. And safety is what allows feelings to deepen naturally, without pressure. If this perspective helped you see relationships with more clarity, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your experience matters more than you think, and your words might help another man finally understand what he's been misreading all along.